Everybody, Mega 31 here for FSIDFS. I will be breaking down the NASCAR truck race at Las Vegas tonight. It is going to be the Victoria Voice Foundation 200 presented by Westgate Resorts. Going to have 134 laps here on the track. And it's about a 1.5 mile track. TK Nation will not be with me this weekend. He's off celebrating and being in, I believe, one of his best friend's weddings. So safe travels to him. Hopefully he has a good, safe time, and we'll see him back to wrap up the rest of the season for next coming weeks. So let's go back and kind of recap Bristol. It was a cutoff race. It was a pretty exciting finish. I was kind of wrong in my thoughts on it. Like Sheldon Creed, I did not think from the pole go out and dominate. I didn't think it was his type of track. I thought John Hunter Nemechek from second position would get out there and lead the race and dominate, but Creed did that. So hats off to him. And then at the end, Chandler Smith, desperate to try to get above the cut line and continue on in the playoffs, kind of moved him out of the way. So he fell back many spots. And Chandler Smith ended up winning the race. So as a result, two trucks eliminated were Austin Hill, who wrecked, and then Todd Gillian, who just lost by, I think, a point or so. It was so close. Feel bad for him. Good driver, good program, good season, but hopefully he'll be back to try again next year. So looking at this race here, here's how the playoffs are. In the in column here, the guys in green, here's what the order is. There's 8 trucks left. They race 3 more races, and then the final 4 that are left over race in the 4th race that's left in the season. So there's only 4 races left in the truck series in Phoenix for the championship. So right now 1, 2, and 3 are pretty comfortably ahead in points. I think 4 through 8 is, I think there's only like a 20-point separation. So you're going to see these guys change positions quite a bit throughout the race as they move up or move down, but really doesn't mean anything. Like if you wreck, it's going to really hurt you with points wise. You're going to have to, but you have 2 other races to kind of recover. So that's going to be, and I think one of the races might be Talladega. Yeah, so we have Talladega and Martinsville left after this, and Talladega can definitely be a wild card. So you really want to try to do well in this race here, so you're not depending on like what happens in Martinsville to be able to get into the next round. You have with these 3 guys up here, if anybody wins the race, then they're going to lock themselves in. And it's only the playoff drivers. So only one of these 8 guys, if they win the race, locks themselves into the finale. So there's a lot at stake for winning here. If a non-playoff guy ends up winning, like if Gillian ends up winning, then it really doesn't change anything. It just means that there's 2 more chances to potentially lock yourself in with a win. And then the rest of it, it's just to make points more important. So looking up top, John Hunter Nemechek, he won this race back in the spring. He beat Kyle Busch in this race, had a very dominant truck here. So I think definitely he's going to get out there, lead early, prime player here, one of my favorite core plays. Think he's going to be very highly owned also in cash. Chandler Smith makes another interesting option, another Kyle Busch truck. 86, if he can get ahead of Nemechek and get out there and lead a lot of laps, I mean, that definitely probably going to have low ownership. So definitely somebody that you could take advantage of there in a GPP, but I wouldn't play him in cash. Stuart Friesen, I think, is a little bit more safe. I'm okay playing him at cash at 85. A little bit more experience in Chandler Smith. He's better like dirt track and short track driver, but I think it's a little risky for him starting 3rd, but he's in 8th position in the playoffs. He needs to finish well. He needs to gain some points here. So I think a good clean race, finish in the top 5. Don't think he's going to lead a lap, but he doesn't have a 10K price tag. So I don't know if I necessarily need him to get up there and dominate. I just need him to have a good, solid race to play him in cash. So 85, I think, he's going to have a pretty high ownership, and I think he's going to be a safe option there. Zane Smith, I think, you could play him in cash also. I think I prefer him more in my GPP lines just with the 10-2 price tag, but I think he has the potential to also get out there and lead this race and get some dominating points. He's going to kind of have to pay off his price tag, but I think he's going to be popular. I think people think that he's going to do that. Carson Hosevar, very solid rookie this year, kind of punching above his weight class, barely made it. He was like really on the cut line until like Hill wrecked. So he's in 7th place for the playoffs. Nice truck, this truck has been solid, but Nice overall has had some issues in tech over the course of the season. I don't know if he's going to finish 5th here. I think he could finish in the top 15. So I think he's very risky to play. I'll put him as a GPP. I don't think, he's a complete fade, but potentially risky play. But some upside too. He's probably gonna have low ownership, and if you can finish in the top 5 at that price tag, then that's going to help you. I doubt he gets out there and leads any laps. Matt Crafton, I think in this Thor truck could get up there and maybe leads in laps. Same thing with Ben Rhodes. I think they're the same, but Crafton has a little bit more incentive. He doesn't have the point cushion that Rhodes does, so Rhodes can be a little bit more conservative. So I think that's what's going to give him less ownership. I think Crafton's going to have the higher ownership with the cheaper price tag at $8K. And I think if some people are just sprinkling another potential dominator in their cash build, I think Crafton makes some sense here. So I think what's going to happen is people are going to start with Nemechek, and then they're going to sprinkle in like Friesen, Zane Smith, Crafton, Rhodes in their cash lineups, maybe build in like a 20 max, just continue to rotate other potential dominators with Nemechek. Gillian GPP here, again, don't know what's going to happen. I think that he's going to go out there and try to, contend and be in the top 10. There's not many Fords in the field. Go out there for front row sports, for his sponsors, and try to finish this season strong, maybe try to get another win, to kind of play this role of spoiler, because if he does get a win, then that takes away an automatic bid from one of these other guys, and just kind of falling out of playoffs the way he did. I think it's not going to be a spiteful thing, but I think it's going to be a pride thing to go out there and be like, hey, you know what, I can contend with these guys that are still in the championship. So I think he makes a very interesting GPP play at 96 in 8th position. Sheldon Creed, I really like him here. I think I'm going to lock him in with Nemechek and build around these two studs. There's some decent value that we'll talk about to be able to make this happen, but I like the place differential here. I like the fact that he's probably a little upset over what happened at Bristol, and that his truck's fast enough. And I believe it won the first 2 races of the playoffs. So definitely he's found some speed recently. He's got a good truck, good program, good driver, wants to, get back there and take over the points lead again. Even though he's in 2nd place and has a cushion, he's not locked in yet, but I think with a good performance, whether he wins or not, he can over the next 2 races. But again, remember, we have Talladega coming up, which is a very, very big wild card race. Anything could happen there. Good trucks can get caught up in a bad situation, and the big one person's irresponsibility can take out like 20 good trucks in one single move. So you don't want to be able to, this is the race where you want to get off on the good foot in this round of the playoffs. And I think Creed will do that. And I think he can definitely get up there, lead some laps. I think, between he and Nemechek, they will have the most dominating points between the two of them. And I think he's even a threat to win this race. So really like Creed. Austin Hill, I think he's the same as Gillian. I think he's mad that he got wrecked out of the playoffs, and I think that he had really good form right before the playoffs. He won a bunch of races. However, they were kind of luck box wins. There were situations through like attrition or like other things happening, and then he just happened to be the first truck to cross the finish line after a series of unfortunate events for other drivers. But he's skilled, and he's definitely a championship. So I think he's one that's going to look to go and finish the season strong. So another GPP guy that wants to go out there and prove something, play the role of spoiler like Gillian. Johnny Sauter, 11th. I don't know. I think good truck, Thor Sport, a little bit past his prime, medium ownership, GPP, not super interested. Next 3 guys are fade for me. I think they're starting way too high up here. Kraus, I've seen him have tech problems. I've seen him wreck a lot. I'm just really not interested with him at 12th. I think this is a race where he has a bad race, and and doesn't finish well, and then he drops down, and then he's a great play for Talladega. Same thing for Austin Wayne Self. We love him, our favorite, country band guy with Tommy Joe Martins and the Xfinity series. These guys should be Nashville country stars, but Austin Wayne Self, I think he falls down into the 20s someplace. I don't see him finishing 13th, so not interested there. Same thing with Ryan Truex. He's a great value play usually, but starting way too far forward, so I'm out on these guys. But Kristen Eckes, this is an egregious pricing error by DK. He is in the 98 truck here. He is not in the Corey Roper truck that he sometimes rides around here. So he's in good truck. It's a top 10 truck. He can definitely get 5 place differential points, and he's only 7,300. That is crazy. Prime play, going to be highly owned probably because it's not a secret. It pops out to any guy that plays, or girl, or any player of NASCAR truck is going to recognize this and lock him in their lineup. So Nemechek, Eckes should be your second guy in. Ankrum, 94, too expensive here. Top 15 truck, possibly. I've seen him wreck a lot this year, so just kind of off of him. Medium, GPP, possibly. I don't think I'm going to have any ownership. Keith Mcgee jumps into the Hailie Deegan truck. I don't know what happened. I know Hailie Deegan got wrecked. I think it might have been with the Austin Hill. It was one of them where somebody was trying to squeeze in on the bottom, and they got hit and hit the safer barrier and came up and hit Deegan and knocked her into the wall. So I'm guessing it's an injury. I did search the internet to see, you search Hailie Deegan, you find out a lot of interesting things, but I could not find out why she wasn't racing in this race. But again, like I said, I think it's just maybe she was injured a little bit from the truck race last week, and hopefully she only misses one and she can come back and finish the season. But he's in a decent truck here at 5,100. I don't know much about Keith Mcgee. He was originally slated to start 37th in this race until he moved into this truck with the driver change. I don't know when they officially decided that he would be in it. If he's not registered and Deegan would, he might have to start from the back. So that makes him a little bit more of a questionable play, having to move up all those positions. But it is a good truck. It is a good program. So it's very intriguing at 5,100. So GPP, I might sprinkle in some of my lineups just in case. But if he does fall to the back, I think that's going to move him more towards the fade than GPP. Drew Dollar, he's in the Kyle Busch premium #1 truck here. He's a good ARCA racer, definitely has a lot of potential. It's going to be a young star on the rise probably in the next couple of seasons. So I'm okay playing him in cash here at 7,500. This truck is definitely a top 15, maybe even a top 10 truck. So yeah, sign me up. Definitely think I can put him in my cash lineups, and 75 is not a bad price for him. Chase Purdy is not the season that we expected after kind of what we saw last year. The truck's decent, should be okay, but GPP, not interested. Same thing with Jack Wood. I think Chase Purdy and Jack Wood are pretty much the same situation, pretty much the same drivers. They have some potential. I think Wood has more potential than Purdy. So if you're flipping a coin between the two of them, I just pay the 400 more for Jack Wood. I think it's worth it. And that's all I'm going to say about them. Could they get into the top 15? Yes. Top 10 stretch, but possibly if there's a wreck or anything. Phoenix really isn't that volatile of a racetrack, so they should be able to get around relatively safely. I'm sure there'll be some cautions, but you're not going to see a big one or a lot of carnage usually. Roper, he's a fade for me, starting way too far forward, not interested in there. Brett Moffitt is interesting here, but I think more of just a GPP play. Very expensive. He was supposedly all in for Xfinity, and then I think he missed a race or something and he didn't make the playoffs. So now he's back in trucks and just open up trying to do what he can. He's in the Rackley truck, who's been decent most of the years, I think this year, except for I think when Chris Buescher was driving it, or one of the Cup guys came down. I can't remember who it was, but somebody was in this. We were all excited, and then the truck broke down in the middle of the race. But other than that, it's been pretty reliable. So Moffitt's a decent driver. I think it's GPP only for me at 91. I think he's got potential to get into the top 15, maybe a top 10, but he's a former champion. It's okay equipment. So there's a lot of pluses here, but not enough that makes me feel good playing him in cash, especially at that price tag. Enfinger here, he's in the 9 truck. He's not in the Thor truck here. So again, he has done some good things in this truck this year, but the truck isn't as good as some of the other ones that he's had. So at 10K, that's kind of a high ask. I think, he's priced up on his name and as if he is in the Thor truck, whereas Eckes is priced, their prices should be flip-flopped. Eckes should be 10K and Enfinger should be 7.3. So if you want to speculate in a GPP and that, can he get up into the top 15, get some place differential points, I'm okay with that, but it's going to take a lot to pay off 10K. So he's probably going to have to get up into the top 10, which I don't know if that's going to happen. Tyler Hill, we love him as a value play. 62 is a little bit too expensive, and starting 24th is a little bit too high. We'd rather have him starting anywhere from 25th on back. Can he finish where he starts? Potentially, but I'd rather take somebody that's a little bit lower, like Denny Bond for 200 less, that starts down a few points or places. So I'm going to be out on him. Howie DeSilvo is at 47. The Jordan Anderson truck, he's an okay driver. So, if this truck can finish where it starts, or even if it loses a few positions at 47, almost a free square there. So definitely someone I would consider in GPP if you're trying to save money. Chris Wright, 53, same thing. I'd rather take DeSalvo if I'm punting here. Hacker and a Nice truck. I think this one is interesting. I think he's a very good driver. I'm not sure about the truck. Pricing's a little high, but I think that it can get up into the top 20. So could definitely consider it for cash here. Bond, like I said, he's the same thing as the Tyler Hill play, but I'd rather take him starting 5 spots lower down with more place differential. Tanner Gray, I think, is the third lock of the slate here at 7,700. He's going to have high ownership in a really good truck. Definitely get up in the top 15. And for 77 for that place differential, I'll take it. I think people are going to be jaded on Tanner Gray. He wrecked at Bristol early on and kind of ruined most of our nights. So it was like within 10 laps of the beginning of the race. I don't believe it was his fault. But I think, he's a good driver. I think he bounces back this week. I think people might just, look over him after last week, but I think here's where we play him and he helps us make money. So like I said, my first 3 guys are probably going to be Nemechek, Eckes, and Tanner Gray. And then I'm probably going to try to work Sheldon Creed in and see what I can figure out for the final 2 guys. So McLaughlin, not interested in. Spencer Boyd, I think could be a GPP play. Trucks, Young's truck is okay. Jennifer Coca, no, she'll probably be 10 laps down. Tate Folgerman, not interested in either. Spencer Davis, I think, expensive here. So I don't know, this cash play, but I think there's definitely some place differential here, maybe about 10 points. So you're going to pay for it with the 7.9. So it's kind of a steep price, but I think it might be worth it. Brett Holmes, I'd rather go with. I think that he's definitely a cash play here at 5,700. He has a decent truck, and for a punt guy down here, 10 place differential points, I think is definitely, even if he only gets like 5 place differential points, he really doesn't need that much. And then you have Dylan Luplow down here. This is a truck that they're really trying to resurrect. I believe Luplow was he was in the Xfinity series a couple years ago, and the team folded up. So I think it's definitely someone to look at as I like him better probably in Xfinity, but I think he's really trying to make a comeback here, and he was a solid driver. So, and this resume program is really trying to gain momentum and to really build, and he's starting dead last. Like 83 is a lot to play, and like I said, it's even riskier with Spencer Davis at 79. But I think with Lupo, you really, starting 36, you kind of have a built-in bonus because it's always on a 40-point scale. And I have seen that there might be more trucks in the field, but like for DK and for NASCAR.com, so as I'm looking at the point here, starting 36, if you finish 36, you automatically get 5 points. So, I mean, that's not that bad as a starting position. So any of these guys down here, anytime there's not 40 cars in the field or 40 trucks in the field, you get a little bit of a bonus, because even if you finish 36, the DK pricing scale doesn't change based on the amount of cars in the race. So I think, some of these guys down here could definitely be some viable punts, especially if you're trying to get multiple drivers up here. So I think you need about 2 dominators. Like I said, my favorite ones is I'm trying to, even though it's expensive, I'm going to try to get Creed and Nemechek in here. I showed you where the value is with Eckes and Tanner Gray, and then some other cheap guys like De Silva if you want. I think he's the safest punt there. Other ways to go. If you try to get 3 guys up here, then I would not play Creed. I would go, with the 86 or 92, probably Friesen, Rhodes, or Crafton would be the ones that I'm looking for if you're trying to go 3. So Nemechek, Crafton, Rhodes, Friesen, maybe Smith and a GPP, and then figure out what other guys fit for value. So that pretty much ends the breakdown. Appreciate you watching. So if you have any questions, drop them below. Hit me up at MegaRulers31. And the race will be late tonight. It's going to be 9 o'clock on the East Coast, just because it's the West Coast race in Las Vegas. So hopefully it goes well. And look forward to bringing to you the Xfinity and the Cup. We have all 3 series going in the next couple of days. So it's going to be 3 straight nights of racing. So looking forward to it, looking for exciting and fun, and hopefully some green screens for everybody at the end. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you for the Xfinity video coming up soon.